Welcome, my dear viewer, to Dr. Paul Kibicho YouTube channel. And time has come that we need to look at a few things pertaining to the leadership that we want to come in the year 2022. Promises will be made. People will come with all versions of stories, and stories are nice, and some of them are very sweet, and they make us sometimes get confused. And therefore, we look what we call the actual mantle or platform that we need to make our very decisions that will make us to be governed for the next 5 years. The problem with us, most of us people, especially before I go to the what to look for in a political leader, is that sometimes we assume to be, we pretend, let me say, that we pretend to be very, very busy doing our own things. Sometimes we do not join the masses when it comes to making all decisions. But the most unfortunate thing is that the decisions that will be made by the people that we do not play part in putting in power will directly or somehow indirectly affect our operations in life. Therefore, one of the things that I want us to do, ladies and gentlemen, or those people watching Dr. Paul Kibisho YouTube channel, is to just first of all ask ourselves, what are we supposed to look for in a leader? Before we talk about even the political leadership, we need to ask ourselves, what are some of the characteristics that one has to fulfill, or what is the threshold that one has to fulfill in order for him or her to be declared a leader? Now, leadership, as I've already said, not everybody was born a leader. We are not all leaders. Not everybody is a leader. We have people, one, who lead by virtue of having been put through a system or an arrangement that makes them become leaders. For instance, those people who go through what we call training to become on leadership, they are trained on the nugget of a leader. What are the characteristics of a leader? What must a leader possess? And before we go to those high levels of trying to think and, of course, come up with what we call the good characteristics or what to look for in a leader, we need to ask ourselves one question. Most of us people, we have gone through various stages in life. Like now, for you to become a sub-chief in your village, what are some of the qualifications? Because even a sub-chief is a leader. For you to become, for instance, a chief, for you to become a principal or a head teacher in a primary school, or for you to become a chairman, either, for instance, chairperson or a chairperson in a given formation. Like, for instance, in our congregations, we have what we call the Chairman Presbyterian Church Men Fellowship. We have what we call the Kenya Anglican Men Association. We have what we call the Catholic Men Association. We have what we call the Gideons in other spiritual setups. But what we have to look for you to become a chairman of those particular organizations? And basically, who is a leader? And whom should we think? Whom should we have in mind now? Now that the year 2022 is coming, we have got so many political parties being formed. Now, are we going to be to make decisions based on how colorful the party colors will be? Will be guided away by the people who will be running those particular outfits, whose past conduct has not been very veritable or palatable for that matter. Are we going to be governed, or are we going to make decisions based on facts or based on what we call past performances of those individuals? Or what are we going to look for in order for us to make a decision on the leaders that we want? Number one of the things that we need is what we call honesty. But the question is, how honest are our leaders? We've been promised a lot of things. I have told you that I have voted since 1992. That is when I cast my first vote in the year 1992. Then I voted again in the year 1997. Then I voted again in the year 2002. I voted again in the year 2007. I voted again in the year 2013. And I'm now going to vote again, God willing, in the year 2022. We have been given so many promises by our leaders. We've been told a lot of things. I talked about honesty. How do you measure honesty? If I have never been elected as a member of parliament, for that matter, or a governor, or maybe what you call a senator, or even a president, then how then can you gauge my honesty? I want us to go deeper into looking at what honesty is all about. And then If you think that what I'll share with you today can add value to Kenyans out there, kindly make sure that you spare some time to talk to those people who will be voting our leaders in the next 2022. So honesty. If Kebisho, for instance, if I was the chairman of our cattle dip, and that cattle dip during my tenure as the chairman, funds got stolen, then do I still have that attribute? Do I still have that characteristic of, or that particular principle of being honest? So if I was not able to manage the funds as a chairman of a cattle dip, as a chairman of Presbyterian Men Fellowship, as a chairman of a school, then how does this aspect of being honest get measured? So if I was not able to take care of those particular funds when I was actually given a responsibility as a chairman of a given enterprise, then how then would you entrust me within those big positions in power? So if, for instance, I have had issues with the community that I live with, they know for sure that I'm not a man of moral standing. Then what makes you think that I'll be transformed when I enter into that political office? So honesty is key. A person is as good as his or her word. If I have not been able to keep my word in that, makes you think that I'll have undergone a total transformation to be able to become a leader in the year 2022. So if I have got spots, then what will make me to be spotless? So if I don't pass that particular test of honesty, I have got no business whatsoever being elected in an elective position. Why? Because the same behavior that I had when I was there, when I was actually being given a small responsibility that I was not able to safeguard the interest of the people who appointed me or who gave me that mandate of being that particular office. What makes you think that when I become an MCA, when I become an MP, when I become a senator, when I become a governor, when I become a president, I'll have changed? So then my question is, are we still on this particular attribute of being honest? If I was not honest, the Bible says, if you can't manage scarcity, you can't manage abundance. If you can't be able to manage a small office, then how else do you expect me to run a bigger office with more responsibilities and resources? So if I have not been able to pass that particular test, honesty test, then how else do you expect me to go and become a good person when I go out there? So I'm saying one of the things that we must consider, ladies and gentlemen, is this aspect of honesty. How many of our leaders are honest? How many times have we been cheated? We've been cheated and so many times. We will do this, we'll do this, we'll change this, we'll do this. Has it been done? So first of all, fine. And personally, I am not of that school of thought where people are saying that you don't have to have academic papers. No. The fact that some people have failed us by virtue of holding papers that they have not used to transform the places that they come from does not necessarily mean that every other individual who possesses those particular academic accolades will behave in a similar way. We are not subjected to the same environment. We are not in a homogeneous situation. No. So I'm saying, if I have not been honest with my past, then how sure are you I'll be honest with your future? So if I don't pass the honesty test at that level, then I don't think there's any point of you entrusting me with other bigger responsibilities. Now, whose duty is it to go and make our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our nephews, our nieces to understand that we require to have a man of honesty? And I've been saying this. If I steal funds from Nairobi County government, why should you transfer me to Meru County government? I will still go and steal. Because if I stole from Nairobi, the geographical movement does not change my DNA. If I was a thief at Nairobi County government, I'll still be a thief at Machakos County government. I'll still be a thief at Kajiado County government. The thing is not moving somebody from one office to another, because moving a person from one office to another does not change the composition or the DNA of this particular individual. So if somebody has been found to have committed crimes, for instance, or to have embezzled funds, be they from the church, be they from the community projects, then that person should not be validated to go to any office of leadership. I have not been sent by anyone. I'm speaking as a scholar that we require to ask ourselves, is this particular individual who is competent enough? Is he suitable to run this particular office? Otherwise, If you elect a bad leader, do not go complaining that you have a bad leader. Children don't elect leaders. We are the people who elect leaders. So if you have a bad leader, don't go blaming anyone. Blame yourself. You played the role. That person is there courtesy of your vote. That courtesy is there personal courtesy of your decision. So if you made a bad decision, live with that particular decision. So, but then, for how long shall we continually commit these particular mistakes that we have done in the past? So I'm saying we have a duty, we have a civic duty as Kenyans, as responsible Kenyans, to ensure the person being fronted to us to be elected in any office of whatever nature must meet this threshold of honesty. If somebody is not honest, then by the way, and I repeat this, I do not see any point whatsoever for an individual who has got spots being given an office. Why should he be given an office? Are you saying that we have shortage of good men and women who can lead? This is the problem that I have with most of us Kenyans. I think making a decision or thinking has been a very difficult thing for most of us people. We must play our role. So honesty is key. What about this aspect of self-awareness? What does self-awareness mean? Self-awareness means if, for instance, Kibicho is going to front himself or to offer himself for a given post that come in the year 2022, I need to ask myself, the first question that should come to all of us is this: how has Kibicho been as an individual? How has his conduct or his behavior, code of conduct? How does he relate with people? How does he manage his family? Because if I have not been able to manage my family, then how else do you manage the or the big office that I'm being given? So self-awareness means, am I first of all aware who I am? Do I first of all appreciate who I am in life? What is it that I have done in my life today as Dr. Paul Kibicho that may warrant you to say we can consider Kibicho for this particular post? So if you have nothing that you can learn from me, if I do not portray a picture of leadership, if my family is in shambles, if my plans are not working, if my house is not properly safeguarded, then how will I be able to safeguard the interest of you people out there when I occupy that particular office? So one of the self-awareness means, am I aware who I am? How far have I moved? From what point to what point have I moved? Since God gave me this privilege of being alive, what have I been able to achieve? What have I done in life that may warrant you people to say, at least for Kibicho, we can say A, B, C, D. So self-awareness is important. If I have not been able to bring up my family in the right way, if I have got issues with my family, I have not educated my family, they go as far as standard 3 or standard 8 or maybe form 2, form 3, and they drop out. If I've married 5 times, for instance, that does not become a very good indicator of an individual who is going to be a leader. So somebody who is self-aware means that even the way he or she relates with the neighbors, the community, and what he has been doing as part of supporting the community, where he or she came from, those are some of the things that you need to consider also. The other thing that you need to ask yourself, there's an element, a very important element, which is called active listening. You know, there's some individuals who don't give other people time, even space to talk, or maybe to share their ideas. So active listening means you should spend more time. A leader should spend more time listening to what is being told by the people that he actually intends and desires to lead. Because it is by listening to their problems that you can be able to know, then how do I lay the foundation of my strategy to be able to address the problems they have brought forth? So if you keep on talking and you don't give people another chance to talk, then you're not a leader. A leader must have this element of listening. And listening is not enough. Listening is not enough. Once you listen, see how best you can be able to solve those problems. And please give timelines. As a leader, active listening means you need to ask yourself, this person went through university, yes. You know, the problem with us is that we do not bother to go an extra mile to do vetting. We do not require the president first of all to nominate or appoint or to have a nominee who must be taken to the National Assembly to be vetted. You need to have some individuals that you can ask. How was Kibicho? For instance, personally, I have gone through many universities. How was Kibicho when he was at PC University, when he was pursuing his theology between year 2002 to 2005? How was Dr. Kibicho when he joined Kenya Methodist University for his bachelor's degree and for his master's degree? How was Dr. Paul Kibicho when he was at Jomo Kenyatta University, university that is at Juja? How was Kibicho when he was at MKU, Mount Kenya University? So there are people are there. And of course, you know, if you ask people, they'll tell you who Kibicho was. For instance, I was a pastor. I was being called a pastor in all the institutions that I've gone through because I was sharing the word of God. And I love sharing the word of God. So how did I behave? How many people did I offend? Or was I remorseful? So those are the things we are talking about in terms of active listening. You need to listen. As a leader, you need to listen first. Listen keenly. Even in your family, you need to listen, because by listening, you can be able to know the problems that are facing the people that you want to lead. But most of our leaders, they like talking. They don't even give space. And more so, some leaders, they do not want even to have people who can appear to be competitive within their spheres. That's another weakness. A good leader listens to everybody, so they can be able to come up with what we call ways of helping you learn the office that you are going to be given. What about a leader who walks the talk? A leader must walk the talk. What do I mean by walking the talk? If you promise a certain community that you'll build something for them, do it. Walk the talk. We've been promised a lot of things by our leaders, and majority of them don't deliver. They only talk and talk. And the problem with Kenyans is that they have been lied too many times. They have been lied to so many times that they have become used to being lied to. And therefore, they have actually embraced lying as part of their lifestyle. That is a very pathetic position. No, we don't need to do that. We require leaders who walk the talk. Even in your own family. If for instance, you promise your son, if you promise your son or you promise your daughter that you'll buy her something after she does ABCD, deliver that. Walk the talk. We do not want leaders who give what we call promises that are nowhere, that are not founded. So the leader must walk the talk. Not only in the political sphere. No. This talk is not purely directed to politicians. Even you as a father in your family. If you're a father in your family, make promises that you know you'll be able to fulfill. If you're a mother in a family, make promises that you know you'll be able to fulfill. You must walk the talk. What about being compassionate? Being compassionate means that you must have this element of understanding that the same pain that you go through in life when something terribly happens to you is the same pain that these other people go through. The grieving of a person who has lost a beloved one is the same grieving that you go through. So you need to put yourself into their situation, understand them as fellow human beings, that the fact that you have been given a higher pedestal of leadership does not make you a superhuman being. You are still a superhuman being who will one day die, who can get sick, who can lose a limb, who can lose a leg. So you're a human being, and therefore you need to be compassionate. Compassionate is that element of going an extra mile and trying to imagine the kind of things that people go through before you put yourself in their scenario. I do not want to use the word empathy, but it's similar to empathy. So you must be compassionate. You must love people. These are the people who have given you that particular office. Love them and don't be a pretender. Don't just appear when you know you're looking for votes, because Kenyans, we know, like we have elections going on at Kiaba. I'm not going to talk about any candidate here in Kiaba, but of course I know the two contenders, the two people who are actually contesting for this position. We have Wajiko and we have Kaledi Jam. Now, I have had so many things. I'm not going to give any pointer to whom I would, if I was living in Kiaba, I would vote. But the person who has been with you in and out of season, the person who has supported you, even when there are no elections, the person who hears that you have a funds drive for somebody who is sick and comes, the person who hears that you have lost an individual and he comes, the person who comes and cries with you, the person who understands your problems, that's the best person for you to give your vote. Somebody who understands you, somebody who has got what we call that human face, the human feeling, somebody who is so compassionate. That's the leader that we require. Even at the higher level, even at the presidency level, even at the governor level, we have some governors who have become some demigods. You can't even access them. They want your vote. They come to you talking to you nicely because they need your vote. And once you put them into the office, they can't even pick your phone call. They become some demigods. When they find you driving your car to go and look for money that the government will be able to tax in order for them to be paid, they come with their walkie-talkies trying to intimidate you to give them space to pass. Those are not the kind of leaders that we want. I have said it and I'll repeat it again here that I was actually in Britain when they had elections. And the Prime Minister just passed it. There was no hulabalos. There was no charlatans and shenanigans that a big person is passing by. Why? Because he's a servant of the people. So we want a leader who is somebody who is very humble, full of humility. Not leaders who come just stamping because they've been given a position. And we have got so many leaders of that nature in Kenya, and I'm speaking out of experience. We require a leader who is compassionate. a leader who listens, a leader who stoops low, a leader who knows that he has only been given a chance by the Almighty God, not because they are so special than us people, because God has deemed it fit for you to be a leader at that point in time. And therefore, and remember, personalities go, but institutions remain. You may be a governor this time loud, but next year you'll not be a governor. How many governors, by the way, who lost their second bid? Many of them. So if somebody was too proud, you could not even interact with people. You could not even join with them when they had issues. Now, the only time that you know how to rush to run to us is when you know you require my vote, and then they are not compassionate, and you fail the test of being a leader. What about integrity? Oh my goodness, integrity. Our constitution, our supreme laws in this Republic of Kenya has actually has provided a whole chapter on leadership and integrity. I do not know what happens in this world of God. That we people, we the voters, we the electorates, we know somebody has got a court case. We know somebody has been somebody has been mentioned in a scandal. We know somebody has stolen from the public coffers, and we go ahead and vote that particular individual, and we expect him to become a leader, to lead us. We have a problem even as Kenyans. I think there is a guy who said, "Wajinga ni sisi." Surely, are you telling us that we do not have other individuals who have got no court cases who can lead? We have them. Then why should we go giving a victim who is already a victim, somebody who has already been put into black book on matters integrity? We require men and women of integrity, people beyond reproach, people who can be vouched for, people who can be comfortable, somebody that you can give a testimony about. Integrity is key. We require somebody who has had no issues whatsoever in matters of corruption. How do you go putting somebody who now you wonder sometimes we have somebody like in Kenya we have a governor who has a case, who has a murder case in court. And he still, I think he has given his position. He has even declared his candidature that he wants to become the president of the Republic of Kenya. And somebody like me, a father of daughters and what have you, when I know what this person did, okay, fine, he has got the right of reply. And remember, we have got two types of laws. Now we have got two types of positions in this world of law. We have what we call adversarial and inquisitorial. Somebody in Kenya, for instance, you're still innocent until proven guilty. But the question is, if somebody has a case directing, actually pointing that he did something like that, why then should we go voting for this particular individual? So is it that we don't understand what leadership and integrity means? We require men and women of integrity. People have got no court cases. People have not been implicated in any corrupt deals. People who are respected. These people, they don't live in heaven and they come in the morning. These are the people that we know. They have got their basis. So if those people that they live with, they have got no confidence in them. And nasema mtu wetu namna gani? Alipoiba pesa, alibia familia yake na jamii yake peke yake, sio wewe. So why should you put somebody who has got court cases in an elective position? No way. I'm advocating that we must be men and women who can be able to help Kenyans, especially those who may not be academically or those who may not be endowed in terms of wisdom when it comes to making decisions. Integrity is key. And I have said that our constitution has actually given a whole chapter on leadership and integrity, chapter 6. So where it's a very, very important and pertinent thing that we need to look at. What about confidence? We require a leader. Surely, it is quite a shame. I saw in the newspaper the other day, a few days ago, that we have got some members of parliament who have not even uttered a word. They have not even given their maiden speech in parliament. And then here you are. Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Nikozira. And then here you are, still putting that person for another term to go and do what? And that's why I wonder, why do you have a member of parliament? The purpose of your member of parliament, the purpose of your senator, the purpose of your woman rep, they have got three roles to do. One is what we call representation. Number two is what we call legislation. And number three is what we call oversight. And if somebody has kept quiet, that he has never at any one time drawn the attention of a speaker in a National Assembly or maybe in the Senate, then you have no business having that particular person. Are you telling me that in your whole constituency, in your whole county, there was no individual who had merited to be put into that particular post? I say this with a lot of humility that sometimes we Kenyans, we are our worst enemies in life. We are our worst enemies in life. So we want somebody with full of confidence, somebody who can stand up and, of course, talk on behalf of his or her people, somebody who can be able to articulate issues, somebody who can be able to understand the orders in parliament, somebody who can be able to understand the processes so that he can be able to play a role as far as representation is concerned, oversight is concerned, and legislation is concerned. So I just, like I said when I was starting this particular show, that we cannot afford to keep on blaming our leaders. We don't have to blame our leaders. I have said this and I want to repeat it again the umpteenth time, that the product is as good as the process that produced it. So if you realize that your member of parliament is not delivering for you, if you realize that your woman rep is not delivering for you, if your governor is not delivering for you, if your president is not delivering for you, don't blame any other person, blame yourself. You are the one who cast that vote into that particular individual's ballot box. Finally, flexibility. We require a leader who is flexible, a leader who understands that he will be leading people who have money, average, and poor. So be flexible, somebody who can be able to fit in any given environment. And I've been telling guys that the mistake that we normally do is that you need to have understood this particular individual from all angles and perspectives and shades. If this person has been too proud even to do other things within the community, what makes you think that will undergo once again transformation to make him a different individual? He will still remain the same individual. So let us look for people who are competent enough, people who can be able to help this nation. Whoever becomes the president of the Republic of Kenya will require men and women of integrity. He will require men and women who can be able to help him or her achieve the various objectives that you have set in his manifesto. But you know, the president is also an individual. He uses what we call infrastructures and systems to be able to operate. So if he has got individuals who cannot help him operate and, of course, run the government, he cannot be able to run this particular government single-handedly. He requires the support. He requires teamwork. And something else, we are not concerned about the opposition. We are not concerned about the government of the day. What we are concerned about as Kenyans is what we call service delivery. That when I go to hospital, I can be able to get drugs. That I'll have a doctor waiting to attend to me who is not actually on the streets striking because money has not been paid to him. Something that was discussed, negotiated, what we call the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, that has not been honored. I require to, I'm not interested because whether somebody is in the opposition or government, personally, as an individual, my interest is that I drive along the highways without potholes. I can access Medicare. My children can go to school. Job opportunities falling what we call meritocracy, not whom you know. Because the problem is that if you do not value other people, if you do not value other people who have actually struggled their way up to be where they are, that for me to be called somebody, for me to have to be given a job, I must have known an individual. It's not right. We require to have what we call that element of appreciating those who have made it in life. And the other thing that we need to appreciate is the fact that Kenya belongs to all of us. Nobody is inferior, nobody is superior. We are all Kenyans and we are all children of God. So we need to have people who fear God. God-fearing men and women, people who will be able to reflect and say, I know God brought me for a purpose. I know God knew why he brought me into this world. Somebody who adds value to other people's lives. Somebody who has got courtesy. Somebody who has got what we call that human heart and human face. Somebody who understands the predicament and the sufferings of individuals. Somebody who will not sacrifice the element of humanity in pursuit of his personal needs and goals. Somebody who understands that we are all human beings and one day we shall stand before God and we give an account of what we did during our tenure. Those are the people that we need. If we can be able to do that, I'm telling you, Kenya will be a very nice place to live in. We'll be able to enjoy a lot of developments, and even our leaders will have more time to actually achieve the various objectives we have set. My parting shot is this, and this one goes to scholars as well. I happen to be in a group of more than 237 scholars. Actually, we are called Nyeri PhD Scholars Forum, and I happen to be the organizing secretary. I do not want to say much about it, but where are the scholars in this political sphere? Where are the scholars in terms of helping their people make decisions? Why are the scholars hiding themselves into books? Even if you hide yourself into books, and your cousin, your daughter, your son can't be able to get good services because of the mistake that you made as a scholar, for not even contributing in terms of ideas to the people, then you have no business being called a scholar. A scholar is one person who changes the situation. environment to create awareness to people for them to be able to make good decisions. And that is what I'm looking for in a Swara. Somebody who can be able to positively impact the society. Somebody who can be able to come up with ideas that can help people move from one level to another. Somebody who can empower people. Somebody who can be able to give ideas and show people the way so that they can also be uplifted from their levels to other levels. That's what a scholar should do. Somebody who can be able to critically analyze and do a situational and sensitivity analysis on the ground to be able to advise people with the right information, facts, matters of facts. I think that is what we need in our lives. And if you can do that, I think Kenya will be a very good place to be. I wish you God's blessings, all of you. If you are in a position of leadership, I request you kindly to make sure that you positively impact on that Kenyan to be able to make the right decision next year. And when time comes for voting. And something else I want to request all of you, do not stay at home, because staying at home is voting the wrong leader. Go and exercise your democratic right. Move out there, go and vote, but vote with your conscience. Vote with your conscience. Our young men and women, they're not going to go to the south. Why? They will be given 200 shillings, will be bought beers and what have you, all in the name of trying to make them subscribe to the philosophy of some of our leaders who want us to elect them to those positions. But the question is, are they meriting? Are their status meriting them to go to those particular offices that they aspire to go? Do they have what we call the method that we require? Do they have do they meet the threshold that we need to be called leaders? Because I have a problem. We have lived harmoniously, like where I live here. We have lived harmoniously without getting to know. I'm not concerned about where my neighbor comes from. I'm not concerned about what tribe he is from. We have lived in harmoniously since we started living together as neighbors. What is it that comes during elections that makes me start now seeing my neighbor as a Meru, as a Kikuyu, as a Kalenjin, as a Luo, as a Tugen, as a Mijikenda? That's what we call utter rubbish. We require to know that we are Kenyans, all of us. We are Kenyans and Kenya belongs to all of us. And nobody requested where to be born. I never said I'd be born a Kikuyu. No, I found myself a Kikuyu and I'm proud to be a Kikuyu. You must be proud of who you are and where you were born and who your parents are, and you owe nobody an apology. You owe nobody an apology. Stand firm on matters of principle. So stand firm. And of course, help people make the right decisions if God has actually put into a level where you can be able to understand and internalize the situations of the day. Otherwise, may God bless you. I thought of drifting a little bit from what I talk about most of the times, finances and of course businesses, just to share with you a few things pertaining to what we need to do come year 2022. May God give you the wisdom. May God bless you. And remember, do not waste your time. Don't waste your time. Between now and 2022, if you are not a candidate for whichever position, your business is to continually do what you know best. If you're a farmer, continually farm. Don't ignore your piece of land. That is the land that has brought you this far. That is the land that has paid school fees for your children. That is the land that you have been eating from. That is the land where you can comfortably say, this is my territory. For the leaders, they want positions to go and, of course, meet their obligations and, of course, aspirations in life. So if you have a cow, attend to your cow. If you have your tea bushes, your coffee bushes, your pyrethrum, your tomato farm, you have what we call you do rabbit farming, continually do that, because that is where your blood comes from. Otherwise, all you need to do is to exercise your democratic rights by voting during the general elections in the year 2022. God willing, nothing else, because you're not looking for any position in terms of the various positions that we have in the Republic of Kenya. May God bless you. Thank you so much, once again, Mr. Steve, for actually dropping a comment on my wall. I thank God for you. And kindly share with your friends. Let us continually share the information that we have with our brothers and sisters. May God bless you. Always a pleasure. For those people who may want to know more about what I do, I have a website. You can go to www.panorama-consultants.com. You can even, of course, you can also look at what I do on my YouTube channel. And you can also go to my Instagram, Dr. Paul Kebicho, my YouTube channel, Dr. Paul Kebicho, or at Keepstua. You can see a lot of things that I do, and you have always been a blessing to me. Now, once again, should you want to reach out to me, you can always call this number 0713 534 65. 0713 534 65. You'll get in touch with my personal assistant, Madam Mary Jogu, for more information. God bless you. Shalom. Always a pleasure having you aloud, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. God bless.